So, welcome everyone. I'm really happy to be back. I feel welcomed by you guys. This is actually your home, and we're just guests here. So, we are very happy to be back with you all. We've missed you like anything. What is this? We're going to go to chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita. Final verse, 934. This is a very important verse because especially the first two lines are the most important lines of the whole Bhagavad Gita, and they are exactly repeated twice, once now and then once at the end. So learn these and we will have a very good idea of what we should be doing. If we don't know this, then we may not understand Bhagavad Gita at all. So, very good. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I broke it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Dang, sorry I did that. All right. Well, if you know these prayers, sing along. Chaitanya Manobishna Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayambhuva Kadamaya Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Bharakamaya Shri Rupam Sagrajata Syracuse, and I know now. That's right. It's ever since Tulsidas. Yeah, changed. So, welcome everyone. Please come closer. With the exception of Kani and Bala.
It's not following with this. It's not reading the adapter. There's no display setting. Built-in setting. Oh, here it is.
Did we find? Okay, if we don't find, guess what? We will have to actually listen today.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
So Krishna says, okay, you can have to listen now. No problem.
Oh,
and listening it is. Alright. No
I think it's the adapter is very loose.
Yes, this adapter. I just moved it before and it just cut right off.
You have the adapter. You have the adapter. Upstairs? I thought we had that.
So, If you guys want to try it on something else, I can
I
just
think
read from here.
We
and-
have one more adapter.
Yeah, if you have another adapter, no problem. All right, so let's see if the technical team can get going. May not happen. I am a little out of sorts. We were traveling the past week, and yeah, I'm not used to being an adoti again, and korta, and dancing and singing. I haven't gotten to dance in some time. So I'm very happy to be with you guys again. I'm very grateful for all of you here at the center to carry on the operations while me and my wife are going and lavishly enjoying vacations. It wasn't lavish. We cooked. We had brought one cooking pot and we cooked in our room. We didn't eat any meals outside, and we did actually a good amount of praying while we were there, and some trying to share what we're doing. But yes, so technical team is here. Repeat after me. It's going to be difficult now because you can't read it. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mami vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanang matparayana. Okay, I think I should allow, right? Again, manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mami vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanang matparayana. Matmana, always thinking of me. Bhava, become. Mat, my. Bhakta, devotee. Mat, my. Yaji, worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, completely. Eshyasi, come. Yuktva evam, being absorbed. Atmanam, your soul. Matparayana, devoted to me. So, engage your mind. Always in thinking of me. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. Okay, it's a little long. We'll see if we get through all of it. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Korma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita, with chapter Adi Lila, verse 41-48, which means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. Because they do not know the science of Krishna, the commentators hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. Prabhupada is saying there are some who are demonic. They also think of Krishna. But enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle, he was also thinking of Krishna always. But he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continually. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Otherwise, understanding Krishna from the wrong source will prove fruitless. So actually, what's it referring to here? There's a lot of commentators who they take the words of Krishna, but they make some assumptions that are actually fallacious, that are completely wrong. They say, oh, well, Krishna is a man like you and me, and he's talking about the eternal aspect of him, but he's not talking about his body, his form, anything like this. Sheila, wow, what a good opportunity. So they make the fallacy of assuming that Krishna is an unembodied spirit, and he's come in this Maya form, and he's come to show us. This is called Mayavadi, actually, to think that Maya is ultimately the truth, and that it can also even bewilder Krishna. But this is not the case, actually. An avatar of the Lord, even in the body he comes to, is actually a pure spiritual body. It's not a product of this world. So anyway, these are some things. And so Krishna actually, he's saying, always think of me. And a lot of the commentators might say, yes, always think of the absolute eternal truth that's present within Krishna. Always think of the absolute eternal truth present within you. But don't think of his form. But actually, that's not what Krishna is saying. Actually, Krishna's form, and actually we're going to talk a little bit today about the nature of the holy name. But Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's qualities, everything about Krishna is actually non-different from Krishna because he is absolute. So actually, when we're chanting the holy names of the Lord, which is like, you might say, why are you guys are always chanting this all the time? All the things. Actually, if we have the right consciousness, we are actually associating with Krishna. But because our consciousness we are committed to looking away from Krishna, we're committed to looking away from God. This is called dualism. We're seeing the black and white, the temporary nature of this world, and that's all we can see. We actually miss it. But we're Krishna consciousness. This is actually the main verse of Krishna consciousness in Bhagavad Gita. There's a lot more in Bhagavatam. But in Bhagavad Gita, these two lines, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, this is actually the main two, you could say, Krishna conscious lines of all of Bhagavad Gita. Is it not working good over here? You guys can see this? Okay. Yes. So one should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna, without deviation. This will help one transfer into the Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. You may say, well, how can I engage my mind in Krishna? My mind is a product of the modes of nature, and all its imagination, all it can really do is make up a form of Krishna. We can't, actually perceive Krishna. Actually, this is the secret to that question. You actually have to hear from someone who's seen Krishna, and then you can see Krishna, actually. I can't see Krishna, so your hearing from me is limited. But I've heard from people who can see Krishna, so I'll tell you what I've heard. And that's all I really can do. And then maybe one day, when I'm so fortunate, I can see Krishna, but not today. But this is actually how we can hear, this is how supposedly we can see Krishna. When we hear from somebody, because Krishna is non-different from his name, because Krishna is non-different from his pastimes, his instructions, anything, when that person who can see Krishna can tell you about Krishna, they can actually impart sight of Krishna unto you. This is actually the process. You have to be very fortunate. I would say it's very difficult. It's not very difficult, actually. But you have to be very fortunate to come in the confines of somebody who can actually see Krishna. And then on top of that, for you to actually pay attention, it's so difficult. That's why Krishna, he says, very shortly after. Maybe I'll show you this verse after this. But he says, Kachid etach trutam partha. Now my, what's that? Tvayai ka grena chetasa. Kachid agyana samoha pranashtaste dhananjaya. What's it mean? Have you heard with one-pointed attention, O Partha? Have you heard this conversation with one-pointed attention? Has your illusion and ignorance been dispelled? If not, keep hearing. That's the problem. If your ignorance and illusion is not dispelled, you haven't heard enough from a bona fide source. You still have illusion, ignorance going on in your life, just do more hearing. That's all you could do. Not just hearing from us, you have to hear from somebody. Prabhupada is saying here, the bona fide spiritual master. And what makes one ultimately, bona fide in that sense, they actually can experience Krishna. We, us in our practice stage here, sadhana bhaktas, we can't actually experience Krishna that well. We're still on or at all. We're totally on the platform of the modes of nature. So even when we see the deity, we can't recognize this is Krishna. Even when we chant the holy names of the Lord, we can't recognize this is Krishna. Why? Because we're distracted. One, we've made a grave mistake. Vayam dvitiya biniveshatasya risharapetasya viparya yosmriti. What's that mean? Fear arises when we become absorbed in dualism. Ultimately, what does dualism mean? When you think things are separate. Oh, this object, this phone, this car, this job, this person I want to be in a relationship, this money, all the things that we are looking for in the material world, yes, dualism. You think that is separate from you and you want to enjoy that. The world is for your enjoyment. Not realizing actually what? Ishara petasya. That there's a one controller. Everything is part of the controller. Apetasya, you've turned away from the controller. The Upanishads, they state that we're like two birds in a body here. And your body is like a great tree for enjoyment. And there's lots of fruits in the body. Oh, go take the body to taste something over here. Very good. Oh, go take the body, you can touch soft things over here. Take the eyes, you can see beautiful things over here. You can have enjoyment via the screen. This flashy thing. Netflix, doom scrolling, this, that, and the other thing. Enjoyment outside of all these things. But actually, not realizing that everything is a product of the one Isha. And what does that mean? That there's one God, we're all part and parcel. When you take the consciousness, and that's all you have. That's all you are actually. You're not this body. You're not this mind even. All you are is really a conscious being. You take your consciousness and somehow or other direct it towards Krishna, towards God, then you can have this Advaya Gyan. You can actually be absorbed in the union again. But why are we not absorbed? Viparyayo smriti. Viparyayo means you've misidentified what you actually are. There's a grave mistake that has happened. You think you are absorbed in thinking you're something that you are not. Like, if we did a drama here or a play, and I started dressing up like I'm Jack Sparrow or something like this, or I'm some pirate, and then I get so absorbed in the dress that I'm aware of, I'm like, wow, this is really me. I am really Jack Sparrow. And then I start saying Yarg and Matey, and I'm going around like this. But actually, we've all done this. We don't realize what we've done it with, but we've done it with this body. You're not this body. You're not Indian. You're not American. You're not a girl. You're not a boy. None of these things are actually who you are. These are temporary designations placed upon the soul due to its own ignorance. And how we got here, who knows? Actually, we can, the fall of the jiva. But what's happening every second is we're continuing to fall by making this mistake. It's called Brahm. The mistake of understanding who you are. That's why first teaching of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says what? You are not this body. The body is temporary and it's due to suffer and die. But the soul is not. So why focus on the body? This is actually, I actually was a little sad when we went on vacation with all my family members, because just like everyone in the world, in this world. They are also very, very much convinced that they are this body. Even I'm Paloma. Very nice to see you. Is your mother here too?
Yeah.
Wow, what a great fortune. Hello, Hare Krishna. You have such a wonderful daughter. So, please come. So, so this is essential spiritual teaching 101. We are not this body. And we've made a mistake though that who we are, and we put priority on this body. We put priority of the temporary things like this body. We put priority on the temporary things like other people's bodies. You know, this is my wife. This is my son. This is my brother. This is my relations. These are all my daughter. These are all temporary arrangements actually of this world. So that's why Krishna says, I think actually I saw you posted something nice for when your father had passed. I think you posted a verse of Bhagavad Gita. Is that true? And you chose that very verse where you know Krishna says, you know, the wise man laments neither for the living nor for the dead. Why would the wise man not lament? Because the wise man understands the spiritual continuity. The wise man understands that these temporary relations, yes, this is inevitable. But we focus on all of these things. We focus so much on the temporary things. Oh, got to make sure that the money is arranged nicely. Got to make sure that the job is arranged nicely. We got to make sure that my relationship is arranged nicely. This, that. Check all these material boxes. But you can't keep any of these things. They will all leave you. So actually in Bhagavatam this is mentioned. It's mentioned as a useless labor. We put all of our time and energy in things that ultimately have nothing to do with who we are. Nothing to do with reality actually. It's just a flicker, like a will-o-wisp. You know, did you ever, I don't know the conditions that will-o-wisps happen in, but it's just like a little flicker of light and then it's gone. But if you put all of your time and your energy in trying to extract the little bits of pleasure from this world, you know, I got to set up my my good food situation. I got to set up my mating situation. I got to set up my good comfortable sleeping arrangements. I got to set up all of my, you know, little material things, my cave, my den, my house. All of these things actually are temporary. And if you don't know this, and if you don't know how to utilize all these things in their proper utility, you'll miss the whole point of life. So don't miss the point of life. So Krishna is telling here, how do you keep the consciousness, not get absorbed in dualism? Here's the secret. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. First, man mana. Put your your mind on me. So easiest way to do that is, you may have heard of something called mantra. Who's heard of mantra before? Anyone? Paula, you've never heard of mantra?
Mantra?
Yes, you've heard of that word?
Yeah.
What does the word mean? You tell us?
So, mantra.
Yes.
Tra it is that which delivers you, gives you freedom from the mind.
Yes. That which delivers the mind. So it's like almost like a tool or a technology that you can use to free your mind or to focus your mind on one thing. Now, here, Krishna is saying, always absorb your mind in me. Manmana, put your mind in me. So if we use the, mantra, right? Okay, this mantra is technology. We can use this. But what could we absorb our mind in via mantra? What did he just say? In Krishna, in me. So what do? We chant Krishna's names. That's what we're doing. Hare is a name for Krishna, indicating that he will take away all of your suffering. He'll take away even more than your suffering. What's the source of your suffering? Your ignorance. That's actually the biggest source of suffering. The suffering is not the circumstances of life, actually. The suffering is the ignorance that we have in perceiving the circumstances of life. Back to Jack Sparrow, he's quoted in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was drunk and he was saying to someone, he's like, mate, the problem is not the problem. It's your attitude about the problem. No, it's not. I don't think we should be quoting Pirates of the Caribbean much for our, eternal wisdom classes. But if you actually study what he said, he's talking Vedic truth, actually. because it's not the actual circumstances, it's not this world that's the problem, it's how we're absorbed in this world that's the problem. We're absorbed in improperly. And yes,
I have a question. So,
yes, tell me.
So, I know it's like it's bad to have material attachments, but it doesn't seem bad to like be attached to your family and like have the material desire for them to be well. And
Yeah, I mean this is proper family dealings. It's not bad to wish your mother well. It's not. But what is actually well? That's what we have to understand. We think, because we're in illusion, we think well is material prosperity. My mother should be wealthy. My mother should have all of her food and comforts. My mother should, have all of these, things. What's actually well, the devotee sees different. My mother should be free of ignorance that's causing her suffering. It's a little different, right? In one way we might say, well, I want my family members to be well. So naturally they should be fed, they should be able to sleep, all these things, the basic necessities of life, yes. But why it might be different. The materialist wants their relatives to be well so they can enjoy the material world. The spiritualist wants their relatives to be well so that they can actually pursue the spiritual goal, the real reality of life. So it's completely different in that sense, Like I want my mother to have, enough food. I want my mother to have all the basic necessities of life, so she can not have to be troubled by these things, so she can actually pursue spiritual life. But that's not most people's focus. Most people's focus is they want to enjoy the material world, which is a big problem, because it can't be enjoyed. You can try. You can try and enjoy the material world. You have been. You've done it your whole life already. Try to enjoy the material world. It will not work. Why? Because everything you get your hands on will slip through your fingers. Everything you get your hands on. Every relationship you get your hands on. I know, Paloma, you have not, and you've not been here for some time because you just lost your father. It's so difficult. And we're not callous. Devotees are not callous. Krishna himself mourned. He's not telling Arjuna, don't you mourn. When Arjuna lost his son Abhimanyu in the war, he didn't say. Krishna mourned with them. But at the same time, they gave the true spiritual teaching. They're not gone. They'll continue on. So naturally we want to preserve our relatives to be able to live. But why do we want them to live? So that they can practice spiritual life. They can remove this fundamental issue that we're in ignorance of. So this is how family attachment cannot be bad. But on the other, if you try to become attached to family because you want your family to enjoy eternally, it's impossible. Enjoy the material world eternally, it's impossible. The only way that your family member can enjoy eternally is they realize their eternal situation and they live by it. And this is what Krishna wants, us to have eternal consciousness, Krishna consciousness. But we are, we're all in a predicament here. What is the predicament? Ishara petasya viparya smriti. We've turned away from the controller, we've turned away from the God of existence. Why? Because we've misidentified who we are. We think we are this material body, and we think we are matter and products of matter, and then not only that, we think you're a product of matter, and you're a product of matter, and this is a product of matter, and everything is for our enjoyment. This is the big, that's why the Christians, they have the story of enjoying the apple. What is the significance? How could that be so bad? How could enjoying an apple be so bad? But actually, trying to be the enjoyer, yes.
So it's interesting that biting the apple gave Adam and Eve the knowledge of good and evil, which is the same as duality.
Yes.
It's an interesting parallel.
Trying to enjoy. This itself is duality. Not seeing already that everything is perfect as it is. Deidre, Hare Krishna, Nadia. So this is what Krishna says, and actually there's a few layers here. Not a lot of people realize this. This line, everyone thinks it's all jumbled in one. I know I did, but I've heard some commentary from the acharyas that actually it's gone. That's okay. I'll tell you. Just this gives a practice. Kachid etachrutam partha tvayai kagrena chetasa. Are you actually able to listen? This is a necessity for practicing bhakti. Actually, this is the only way. That's why we work so hard to follow 4 regulative principles. The regulative principles in themselves aren't so bad. You eat this thing, that's bad. You drink this thing, that's bad. What it does though is it dilutes our ability to be able to actually practice, like to actually have one-pointed attention. So we don't eat meat, we don't take stimulants or depressants or this, that, and the other. We don't have so many alterations on our body. Why? So we can actually listen. We can actually practice bhakti. And what's the beginning is Shravan. You have to hear. You have to hear, and that person you're hearing from has to have some bhakti to give you. Then if you hear, then you can get that bhakti. But one-pointed attention. Very difficult. The mind is already so distracted. It's so distracted. And this distraction is what takes us deeper into illusion. From one, the mistake is made. One, I am this body, everything is of this material world, is for my enjoyment. And then, instead of thinking deeply and realizing, no, I'm definitely not this body. Everything here is temporary. You just get distracted by this. But, ooh, that's shiny over there, that's gold. And there's this, and there's this. And next thing you know, and then, on top of it, you'll then create biases called vipralipsa. It's called the cheating propensity. Where your biases are like, no, yes, this is very important. My school teacher said this was important. My mother said this was important. My father said this was important. And then it just gets, and why? Because you want it. You chase it. I'm going to pursue material success. I'll find it. I'll get it eventually. And it keeps getting layered. And because you're too distracted to actually see the truth, your illusion goes deeper and deeper and layers on top of each other. And yes. And then you think the senses, which are imperfect by nature, are all in all. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, bringing pleasure to the senses. This is life. This is not life. These senses have nothing to do with you. These are instrumental to you observing this world. But actually they're not you. And they're temporary and they're imperfect. So anyway, I've given so many, you could say, detailed breaking it down how imperfect the human senses are. Maybe we don't have to do that today. But this is actually how illusion is happening. But this is how you can get out of illusion. You take the thing that's causing, like Ben, you were quoting the other day. You take the mind, which is causing your illusion, and you turn it on itself. And instead of having it, focus on the analogy is given like a scorpion surrounded by a forest fire. Instead of taking the mind and engaging it around, but now the mind can't do anything. The mind realizes, no, every bit that I do here in this material world with this mind is going to lead me deeper into ignorance. What do? You take the mind, you're like the scorpion, instead of taking the stinger and try and sting outwards, which it always does, it takes its own stinger surrounded by fire and it stings itself. So now, the analogy is you take your mind and you focus on who you really are. And what is that connection? You have to understand what's called sambandha jnana. Who you really are is in connection to God. You are not separate from God. This is the illusion, actually. The illusion is I'm separate from God, and that all things are also separate, and I'm going to enjoy these things. This is what's happening. This is why everyone's in illusion. They're too distracted to realize. Anyone who thinks deeply, they'll know, yes, I am definitely not God. And these things cannot be enjoyed eternally. I'm looking for an eternal situation of happiness, and everything that I try and find here is not that. Someone tell me one eternal thing you can find here. There is an eternal reality. Do you know what it is? What is your real form? What is your real position? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishnara Nityadas. Yes, you are actually an eternal servant of Krishna. You're an eternal servant of the Lord. That's the only thing that's eternal. So when you have that as the function behind why you're doing everything, then it's actually perfect. But if anything else is why you're doing it, this is illusion, actually. and this will cause you suffering. That's the guarantee. It's the guarantee. That's Krishna has designed it just like so. Why? Because this isn't who we are. Living. You've probably experienced this before. Maybe I don't know. It's actually never happened to me that I knew of. But like say right now on the internet, this very popular thing that's happening is this. There's this couple that was at a concert, and they at a concert or a sporting event they have like the kiss cam, and the kiss cam is going around to all the couples, and then the couples on the kiss cam, they're supposed to kiss, but this one couple, I guess they weren't supposed to be together, so the kiss cam got to them, and then they like dropped and they had this whole big thing, and then now it became like an internet sensation. Instead of they should have probably just kissed, and then no one would have suspected anything, but because they didn't, every like big drama, and everyone called out that they're having an affair in a relationship or something like this. And so anyway, why am I talking about affairs, relationship? Why? Because usually the people in the relationship, it's built on some level of trust, and they think my partner would never do that to me. But some people, especially in this society, it's very prevalent. Indian society, it's a little less prevalent. It happens, but it's less prevalent because it's just a more religious society. But anyway, when people do these things, when the person who's been cheated on finds out, it breaks their heart. Why? But they were actually in illusion about the situation. They thought, no, my situation is stable. This is good. Like this. But this has happened probably to you many times. You thought a situation was one thing, and when you learn the reality of the situation, it's something else, and it broke the heart. So actually, this is why we're bound to suffer. We think that things are a certain way about this material world. That this does give happiness. Money does give happiness. Material pleasure does give happiness. But then when we actually get to it, we say, no, it does not give happiness. Oh my gosh, I'm still not happy. Why? Because we're an illusion. We think things give happiness that do not give happiness. That's not the yield. Just like if we were to go out into the forest and see, oh, there's a red mushroom. I bet you this tastes sweet. Red's the color of sweetness. Oh, it's probably like a strawberry, and then you eat it. And then the reality will be, no, that was a very bad idea. Right? There's a reality, there's a nature to that mushroom. But if you're silly or you're in ignorance, you might think the nature is something other than what it is. So this is what's happening. We are projecting our ignorance on the world, and then we chase it. But actually that's not the reality of this thing. Money indeed does not give happiness. Material things indeed do not give happiness. Pleasure of the senses do not give happiness. They give, and you've experienced this a million times, they give a temporary sensation of joy, even the things that you're supposed to use your senses for, like food and water and so on, but they do not yield long-term happiness. You get hungry again tomorrow. Nobody, who had a little bit of sex pleasure is completely satisfied, like, oh, never have to do that again. No, they want to do it again tomorrow, and so on. All like this. So what's the solution in this verse? Man mana, give your mind to me. But now, why does he give? That actually is enough. Put your mind, Krishna consciousness is the process. There's 2 rules to Krishna consciousness. Anyone know them? Always think of Krishna. That's what he's saying. Always think of me. And what's the second one? Never forget Krishna, which is our problem. We've forgotten the relationship of us and the controller. But that's actually enough. But we can't do it. We're not very good at this. You say yes. I will always think of you, Krishna. But we actually have no perception of Krishna at all. You're just that guy at the center. He told me to always think of Krishna. But all we can do is use our imagination to try and think of Krishna. We don't actually have a real perception of Krishna. It's not like Krishna has revealed himself to us. Maybe in certain aspects he has, but not completely. It's not like we can fully perceive Krishna. Where some elevated devotees, Krishna is there with them. They can perceive Krishna at all times. Not us though. So then he says, Bhava mad bhakto. Become my devotee. So that means, what's that mean? Prabhupada was saying in this verse, there are processes to becoming a devotee. And let's hear some processes. Devotional processes. Anyone know? Can't chant the whole verse. That's it. These are the nine main processes. There's 64 main processes of bhakti, but these are the chief processes. And then of those, the chief of those are Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam, which means hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna through kirtan, and then remembering Krishna. But actually this can only happen when you do the first two, Shravan and Kirtan. And actually Kirtan is said to be the topmost. Oh, Sohan. But Shravan is the most essential for us in the beginning because we have no ability to do Kirtan in our state of ignorance. So we have to find someone who can do Kirtan, who actually knows something about the Lord, has some perception of the Lord, and we have to hear from them. This is the process. This is why we spend so much time on our program. We do a lot of kirtan, we worshiping and like this, but we spend so much time enforcing everyone, and we entice you all with a nice feast afterwards and things, and saying hearing. Because if you are not hearing, you are not practicing bhakti. If you are not hearing about Krishna, your ideas of kirtanam are mostly imaginary. You have to hear. You have to come and hear. That's why, what is the Bhagavad Gita? It's a conversation where Krishna enlightened Arjuna, but what did Arjuna have to do? Krishna said, Kachir etach trutam partha? Have you heard? Tvaya ekagrena cetasa? With one pointed attention? If he said no, Arjuna said yes. And he did hear with one pointed attention. But if he said no, Prabhupada is saying in the purport, he would have to do the whole Bhagavad Gita all over again. He said, all right, well, back to square one. Let's get you back on track. So if you don't have a process of hearing in your life, and guess what? Hearing over a screen isn't the same. Hearing over a screen isn't the same, actually. Why? Because the bhakti is not the words. Actually, the bhakti is an emotion from the heart. And maybe some emotion can be transmitted through the medium of screens and technology, but it's not nearly the same of personally hearing. So you have to personally hear. But this is actually the most important process. In the beginning, because we don't have the ability to do kirtanam. We have no perception of Krishna. We can't really think of Krishna. We don't really know. I think he's that guy, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, or maybe I heard a few pastimes of him in the Bhagavatam. But we don't really have any realization of Krishna. So how do you gain some realization of Krishna? You have to hear from someone who does have realization of Krishna, and they can actually give you Krishna. That is the process. So, here we are, trying to give. Like I said, I don't have deep realization of Krishna. Krishna has revealed some things in my life through elevated devotees to me, and I can only share that with you. But we are connecting you with teachers who are much more advanced on the stage, who have, some they may not admit it, and some may even, if you really corner them in and lock them in and, are persistent, they may even reveal to you that yes, they can perceive Krishna. But, and I will admit to you flat out, I cannot. But I have heard from those who have, and I can only share with you that which I have heard. So, try. We have to make some attempt. We have this mantra. We have this Maha Mantra. Every day we are chanting this Maha Mantra. I thought it might be a good idea to end with the glories of the holy name, actually. And that's told by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastakam prayer. So he gives like an advertisement verse. You might have heard it. Cheto darpanam arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kadava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vadanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Spadanam Sarvatma snapanam padam vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So these are some of the benefits. If you just try. So with this verse, the last part, first he says, Manmana, always think of me. But Arjuna can think of him because he sees Krishna. He's not like us, not seeing Krishna. But then, just for, if Arjuna has some doubt, he says, Bhava Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. So then now, you can hear about me from others. You can, practice archanam, bandhanam, dasyam. You can cultivate all these devotional practices. We have many devotional practices. We recommend the whole community. Come every day, you can practice with us. No problem. We're very happy to do it with us. So this is the next step. But then many people might say, but I work, I have family, I have this. I can't do this. I can't do this every day. And then he says, Madhyaji, sacrifice to me. So that means just take something in your life that you can do and offer it to Krishna. I'll give you a good example. Bala does so many things for us. I won't go into all the detail of all the things that Bala has done for us. Bala, Kashik, and Kani. But they have some means to make some sacrifice, and then they do it. Maybe it's offering us grains on some day. They say, all right, listen, I can't come every day. I cannot worship. But I have something I can offer. This here, this resource, I can offer. That's the next tier down. And then the last thing, if you cannot even have any much to sacrifice. I'm a poor student. I don't have anything to give. I'm impoverished. I don't have any means for sacrifice. Namaskaru. Anybody can offer your obeisances. You can come to the temple, you can bow, or you can sit and chant the name of the Lord and try and realize this is good, I'm going to just offer my obeisances, or every day at some point try to offer some prayer to the Lord. Anyone can do anything, something. That's the essential understanding of this verse. Most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should know at least these two lines. Because this is the gold standard. Manmana. Mind is always on Krishna. But then we see reality. I have no perception of Krishna at all. I cannot do this. Fine. Bhava Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. Here's some devotional processes. Okay, but this is, holy crap, I've got so much going on in my life, I can't do all these things. Try your best. Okay, fine. Madhyaji, what can you sacrifice? What sacrifice do you have? You have a little bit of money? Do you have some ability to help the people at the temple make sacrifices? Do you have something you can offer to Krishna? I don't really have even that. I'm broke. I don't have any. Namaskaru. Madhyaji mam namaskaru. So unto me offer obeisances. Everyone can at least offer their obeisances. You can come to the temple and bow before the form of the Lord. Even every day you can cultivate some prayer. Many people do. I know Indian culture, they give namaskar to the sun, Surya namaskar, when the sun arises, because they're seeing that there's a divine connection via the sun. One of the best things I got to do all trip when I was away was just go down the shore, go to the beach at sunrise, and just watch the sunrise. And it was a very prayerful experience for me when I was gone. Actually, it was like my solace every day. Not even my wife and child are available yet, and I just got to go and see the sunrise. And it was a beautiful type of experience. I know why the whole Indian culture is doing, because it's very, very powerful. I mean, the whole Gayatri mantra, might have heard of the Gayatri mantra, at least on the surface level, is appreciating the illuminating and worshipful rays of the sun coming to bring illumination to the whole world. This is beautiful, that we get illumination in our life. So please take even further some of the illuminations of the Supreme Lord, Bhagavad Gita. This verse, maybe we can finish this. Mame Vaishyasi, Yukt Vaivam. He'll say, completely come unto me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Atmanam mat parayana. So, being completely devoted to me, you will come to me. But this is the step ladder. Start by just offering your obeisances to the Lord. Having some general level of respect for the Lord. Okay, I can't do much sacrifice. I don't have much to offer. All these processes of devotional service, that might seem like a lot to me. Maybe in the beginning it is. But everyone can at least have some reverence for the Lord, realizing that, one, you might have to realize there is a God. Like if you scientifically break it down, everything is moving something else. If you trace it back, there has to be one independent mover. That's all you can infer with logic of this world. Everything is moved by something else, and if you trace that back, and something must be moving the first thing. There has to be one thing that isn't moved by something else in order to move everything else. And so on. If you try and break down all the parts of existence, well, what made this thing and what made this thing? Our scientists are doing it. They're finding atoms and nucleuses and quarks and this thing, and they're trying to find the God particle, the Higgs boson. Of course they're trying to find God at the end of it. That's all that you can find, actually, is God, because that's the reality of everything. But it doesn't matter. If you realize there is a God, then you have some responsibility. Okay, I don't know much about you, but I know I should have some respect for you. And Krishna is recommending, have some respect. Namaskuru. Offer your respect to Krishna. That might mean coming and bowing at the temple. That might mean respecting and honoring the Krishna's devotees. This is so important. There's so many things that you can do. Madhyaji, maybe now you're saying, all right, I respect God. All right, there's some sacrifices. There's some things I can do. I have this to offer. I can pick some flowers for the temple. I can offer some fruits to the temple. Maybe I have a little extra money. I can help the people at the temple. And so on. You can do some sacrifices. And then maybe you're like, all right, yeah, I'm used to doing some sacrifices. Mad bhakto. I can actually do some devotional processes. Guess what? You're doing it every time you come here. You come here, you sing with the devotees. You come here, you hear about Krishna. You're doing it. These are some devotional processes. Maybe I can do some every day. Let me talk to the devotees. Every day, maybe you're doing some Harinam Japa, chanting the names of the Lord, calling out to the Lord with the intention of saying, I know you're here. I know you're existing. And supposedly you can appear to me via your name. It is possible. Maybe not in our beginning stage, but if we make the intense endeavor, Krishna he'll send what needs to be sent so we can actually perceive him. If he wants, he can, but, just like if you have a relationship with somebody, nowadays this is probably very relevant. Do you ever get out with your friends and then they're just so absorbed on the phone and you're not really paying attention to you at all? This happens? And just me? Maybe you're all the people absorbed on the phone. It's possible. Anyhow, if you ever get out with your friends and one friend is just absorbed in the phone and doesn't want to give any attention, and you're like, well, I'm not going to make such an endeavor to hang out with you anymore. Why? Because it's just like, it's empty. Like, my God, like, why? Because what's the worst thing that can happen in a relationship? Like, my wife, if I yell at her, that's one thing, or if we have some, confrontation, that's one thing, but the worst thing she hates the most is if I ignore her. And actually, any type of thing, this is why ignorance is the biggest cause of suffering. Because we are actually ignoring God. God is everywhere. God is the ultimate reality, the source of all reality, and we're just ignoring. Because, no, I don't care about God. I have money to be happy about. I don't care about God. There's good food over here. There's sex life over here. Who cares about God? It's just fine, okay. He's not too hurt about it. But he gives us a world where we can try and enjoy, and then we suffer in it. That's the nature of it. But if we just turn our attention towards God, and we think of God somehow, that's the topmost, to always be in thought of God. To always be in thought of God, but it's very difficult. So we have the processes of devotional service. Bhava Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. Okay, we got to train ourselves up to always think of God. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And that's what we're doing every day. We're trying to think of God, calling out his name, trying to perceive him in his name. But many of us, I'm too busy, I can't do all these things. All right, at least offer something. At least offer something. Maybe a little money to the temple, maybe some fruits, maybe some flowers. At least give something. Give a little something. I don't have much to give. All right, fine. At least have some respect for God. But the topmost thing is the evolution through being a devotee, and in that you can always think of him. That's why the main process is the chanting of the holy names. You heard me chant that verse, the Shikshashtakam verse. I can take you maybe through it. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, just by calling out the name of the Lord, associating with Him via His name, it will cleanse your heart. You may say, I have a dirty heart. I cannot do this thing. I'm too distracted. I have too much going on. This is way too much. The more you call out the name of the Lord, it will cleanse your heart. The more you practice these things, it will cleanse your heart. The more you come and hear, the strength of that person's chanting will cleanse your heart. So even if you say, I cannot chant, I can't do these processes, come hear from somebody who can. They will do the work for you, and then you can go and do what they're doing. No problem. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam, your dirty heart will be cleansed. And if you don't think your heart is dirty, you're not paying attention enough. We're in this world because our heart is dirty. To the extent that we are absorbed in dualism and materialistic things is to the extent that we are dirty. So just see, if you have no endeavor in your life for spiritual things, your heart is very dirty. The more endeavor you have, genuine endeavor, not just like, all right, I want spiritual, I want you, Lord, because you're going to give me all the material things I want. That's counterintuitive. It's not actually. If that's the case, that's still dirty. We need cleansing. So we chant the names of the Lord. It'll cleanse our heart. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. It will extinguish this forest fire of material existence. You might say, I have just so much going on. I've got kids running around over here. I've got the job. My boss is telling me this. The bill collector is over here putting so much pressure on me. I've got this. The student loan debt collectors are putting so much on me. I just can't balance it all. Not a problem. The holy name will extinguish all of that. I've seen it in my life. I had some crazy things. I don't know how the heck Krishna arranged the things in my life. But what's happened is I've been able to chant the holy names of the Lord more, and all of these things I was worried about, Krishna figured them out. Somehow or other. He sent something to figure them out. So it will actually extinguish your material existence. All of the materialistic things that are holding you back, that you got entangled in, it will extinguish that. When you're sincerely practicing though, not just like, all right, I have my own ideas of how this is practiced. Sincere practice is under guidance. Sincere practice is under a bona fide teacher, someone who is much more advanced than you. That's sincere practice. Everything else is your own speculation of what practice is. It's not something that, I will decide how I'll do devotional service. That's very beginner, neophyte devotional service. But actually devotional service is under guidance. It's called anugatya. We say Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Guru Varga Ki. Those who are following anugas, following of Rupa Goswami, who is following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's teaching us how to follow the Vrajavasis and how the devotees. This is actually bona fide. Is if you're following, not trying to make up your own process here. From a corrupt state, you cannot make up any bona fide process. You need help. You're not here to help anybody because you don't know how to help. In the beginning, you don't know how to help. You're drowning. It's not like we're all drowning in this material existence. And you say, oh, well, I want to save everyone drowning. Yeah, maybe you can, but you have to stop drowning first, before you can save anyone. What good will it be if you swim over to other people drowning? But come on, let's drown together. No good. You got to get saved. Someone has to come and save you, pick you up, place you, brush you off, and then you're like, there's a bunch more people out there drowning. All right, let's go. Let's get our boats and let's do it. But you got to get saved first. So a lot of people are very altruistic. Well, I want to help others. You got to help yourself first. You're not even helped. If you're not helped, how can you help others? Right? You have to be helped first. So you have to be spiritually saved. That's why the Christians, they make a big deal about getting saved. You have to get saved first, actually. If you're not saved, if you're still having all these material existences burdening you, you got to get saved from that. You have to, either you have to find a bona fide teacher or learn how to follow your bona fide teacher better. That's the simple process. So, The holy name though, it will extinguish all of that. If you're really, really taking to the process, it will extinguish all of these material problems of this world. Promise. I've seen it in my life. It's lessened and lessened and lessened more and more and more since I've started. That's my own personal experience, but I've met devotees where it's completely like obvious, like wow, Krishna has really blessed you. It's amazing. So on. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. This is poetry. Shreya is good fortune. Everyone wants good fortune in their life, yes? Well, Kairava Chandrika, it's the white moonbeams of Shreya, Vitaranam, are spreading everywhere. So your life will become extremely fortunate. All good fortune will come in your life. I've seen in my life more and more as I've practiced, just good fortune comes to me when practicing. Good, but when chanting the names of the Lord, when following the bona fide processes of bhakti, when associating with advanced devotees, good fortune just comes. Things, I don't know how they're going to work out, but everything works out. Wow, it's amazing. My material problems get extinguished that were burdening me for so long, and now good fortune is arising everywhere. This is a symptom of the holy name. If good fortune is not arising in your life, you're not approaching the holy name. But if you are approaching the holy name, good fortune is guaranteed. I'm here to just instill a little faith in you because it's something has happened to me, something. And then, vidya vadu jivanam. Vidya is knowledge. Our biggest problem is avidya, ignorance. So the vadu is like a wife, and jivanam is like the life. So it's saying it's poetry, vidya vadu jivanam. It's the wife and it's the life of knowledge. So it will accompany knowledge. The more you're calling out to the Lord, knowledge will come. I've seen in my life, due to this process, I've met teachers who have taken my portals to knowledge to the next level. I never, ever, ever would have been blessed to meet such teachers by not taking the process of chanting the holy name. But this is actually the life and the wife of knowledge. And so don't think, oh, well, I can spend so much time studying. How much will you understand on your own? You're like a cosmic toddler trying to figure out the world on your own. Your good fortune is if you meet a bona fide person with knowledge. Not like, oh, well, I can surf on the internet. Good luck. It's like that's sending a toddler out on its own. He has very limited experience of the world. You won't even know what to look up on Google, let alone actually, become enlightened with Google. Or, and then what's to speak of these academics system? These people are blind. They have no idea who they are. How is a blind person? A blind person will only lead you into a ditch. And these colleges and these, jobs and this and that, these people are leading you into a spiritual ditch. And you'll be miserable there. And especially as old age, disease, and death are inevitably going to come, if you don't spiritually figure it out, I feel very sorry for most of the humanity due to this. So find someone, who does have knowledge, but call out to the Lord. Jesus says, ask and you shall receive. Knock and you shall enter. Seek and you shall find. If you seek the Lord and someone who's representing the Lord, He will send that to you. Why would He not send? He's giving you everything already. All the air, the water, everything you need. I want to finish though, so I'll continue on. Vidya vadu jivanam, anandam buddhi vardhanam. Then, when all of these things start to subside, what comes? An ocean of bliss. Imagine, I'm not in an ocean of bliss. I'm still working on the preliminary stages. But an ocean of bliss, pratipadam, at every step, comes. At every step. So meaning it's ever increasing bliss. More and more bliss, more and more bliss. Maybe some of you practicing, you're already noticing. Wow, I'm much more blissful doing this, So maybe some people you come and you might see some of the devotees screaming and dancing and yelling, what the heck are they so happy about? Well, how could they get excited doing like that? Right? It hasn't happened. I remember when I was first coming, I was like, why is that person so happy? But actually now I get it. I'm like, oh, I get why you're happy. I get why that person was happy. Now, sometimes, not every time someone's rolling around in supposed ecstasy, there's also, the false ego can try to make a show and things like that. You have to discern. But actually, I understand now why devotees were able to get happy. Because when you're connected to God and He makes your life very fortunate, and that connection is deepening and deepening and deepening, it is ever increasing bliss. And guess what? That can always increase. No matter what life form you're in, what stage of life, you can always increase your bliss. You can always increase. Why? Because you can always increase your connection to God. That's something that'll never change. Your bank account, that's going to change. Your career situation, that'll change. Your relationship with your family members, that'll change. But your relationship to God, nope, it's always there, and it can always get deeper. So and what's the gift of that? Ever increasing bliss. And then Purnamrita Svadanam, and that bliss, you will taste complete nectar. And that's eventually a very high stage. And you can meet devotees who are there just really tasting something. They're tasting something amazing. We've had a few guests here where it's clearly obvious, like, wow, this person is really they're getting a lot from this. Maybe if you see me, you might say, yes, you're not much better off than me. And it's obvious, right? I'm not too much better off than most. But there you meet some people and you say, wow, they really are they have something. So anyway, next time we have a guest, check it out. You never know what they have that you might want to get. Because they're giving. That's the nature of those who have it. And guess what? Bhakti is of the nature, when you share bhakti, you'll get more bhakti. Like if I share with you donuts, I have less donuts and you have donuts now. But bhakti, if I share with you bhakti, I have more bhakti and you have more bhakti. That's a good arrangement. Donuts are not like that. Anything material is not like that. The Lord is like that. You share God with others, you have more God, the connection is increased, and now they have more God. Everyone has more God. Donuts, anything material is not like that. Oh, I give you a donut, that means I have to have less donuts. If I give you, I'm not going to get into every single thing. But that's the nature of material things. Sarvatma Snapanam. All souls can bathe in this thing. All souls will bathe in this thing. Actually, it's the inevitability of every spirit soul. You are, at your core, a servant of God. You're a part of God. Whether you want to look away from that reality, that's fine. You can. You'll suffer eternally for it. But as soon as you want to turn back, He's ready. Any moment, every living entity, you have the shot right here, right now. The fall of the jiva, when did it happen? Doesn't matter when it happened. It's happening right now. Turn your consciousness away from the fallacy of thinking material things will give you happiness and turn it towards the actual source of happiness. That's what Rama means. And you can actually get happiness. So, and it's not even about your happiness at the end of the day. The advanced devotees, they don't even care about their happiness. Why? Because they get so much happiness in pleasing God and His associates. They get more happiness in serving the other devotees than they do trying to serve themselves. And that's why actually anyone who is practicing bhakti, that realization comes very quickly. There's more happiness in serving than there is in receiving. And naturally receiving will come too. Dadati pratigranati. These are the two exchanges of devotees, are giving and receiving. Giving and receiving conversation, giving and receiving blessed food stuff. These are the exchanges. So Param Vijayate, Param is this topmost. Vijayate, victory, to Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, the congregational glorification of Sri Krishna. So that's what we're here to do. This is what we're here to share. You all can easily do it. You have just to recap, everyone can start from Namaskuru. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam Namaskuru. Everyone can start from Namaskuru. You can have some appreciation of God. I bow to you in the morning, even if it's just the deity. You don't know how to respect devotees, but you can respect the deity, no problem. Everyone can do Namaskuru in that way. And then you can build your Namaskuru to maybe madhyaji, you know some sacrifices you can do. Okay, I have some fruits of my work, I can give some money to to Krishna in some way. I can offer some flowers, I can give my time and energy, I can pick flowers, I can grow some fruits, and I can, do this in that way to help for Krishna's worship. That's a yagya. Everyone can do a little yagya in some way. Maybe you can't, then just do some namaskaru until you can. And then you can do some yagya. And then the ultimate yagya is the Sankirtan yagya. Everyone can glorify the name of the Lord. Everyone can call out to the Lord. But it might take your attention to actually, to do that. Okay? And then you might realize, okay, I can do some yagya. I can chant the name of the Lord. Great. Bhava Madbhakto, become my devotee. Shravanam, let processes of Shravanam come in your life. Kirtanam, let processes of Kirtanam come into your life. Shravanam is hearing. Hearing from more advanced devotees than yourself. Ideally a perfected devotee, but that's not so, that's rare. So hear from, more advanced devotees than yourself. Then Kirtan, share what they've told you. Share what advanced devotees have told you. Actually, I made a commitment this, while I was away. I'm seeing the trend of things. People don't read books. I had books there, with me, but people don't read books anymore. It's crazy. But people don't read books anymore. So I said, all right, how can I really leave this person? I'd have a good conversation with a family member. But in my past, I've given books, but I'm not going to read this. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Now I was sending YouTube video. Just send some YouTube video, maybe. And what is the content of the YouTube video? Just to realize that there's a God, so that they can practice namaskaru. Just to realize, hey, there's a God? Okay. I don't even care at this point if they're never going to, maybe in this whole lifetime, most people are not going to find Krishna consciousness. It's just, it's realistic. But if they could just have some appreciation of God, and whatever religion they practice, they can practice a little bit more sincerely, that's good. That's a good, at least something. At least from what I'm dealing with most of my family members and relatives, to me I feel it's a victory if they have just a little bit more faith in God. So I just sent some YouTube video that could, I picked out the best one I thought that each person would benefit from. So anyway, that was most of my preaching in my kirtan this trip. So everyone can do a little bit, but you can only share what you've heard. If you've heard practically nothing, good luck sharing anything. So you have to hear. You have to really hear and deeply understand. And how do you hear? Tvayaika grena chetasa, with one pointed attention. You have to really pay attention. If you're distracted by so many material things, that's a compromised situation. Then Krishna had to pause Bhagavad Gita right there and he said, all right, whole Bhagavad Gita all over again. You didn't hear with one pointed attention. So you have to hear with one pointed attention. And then, so then you can learn how to be a bhakta, practice devotional service. Maybe you're doing some sadhana. You're chanting a certain amount every day, you're doing devotional practices, you're going through devotional scriptures, you're doing it under the guidance of more advanced devotees. And then, maybe one day, manmana, we can actually think of Krishna, we can actually perceive Krishna. Arjuna could do that, but we have to go through these other stages. At least start with namaskuru, just offering some respect to God, have some respect to God, even if only in the mind. And then eventually work your way up to doing some sacrifice for God. I'll give this for God, for God's worship. I can pick flowers, maybe I can give some flowers to the temple, some fruits for worship, or whatever. Help the devotees there. Or then the whole processes of madbhakto, 9 processes of devotional service. I can learn these things, I can practice these things. And then maybe one day, you can actually experience Krishna. So I'm ending there. Sorry that was a bit long. But, and the best way to do that, chant the holy name. Chant the name of the Lord. Come and develop a taste. Even the next part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer is Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha Itadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dardaiva Midrishami Hajani Nanuragaha. Basically, that Krishna is giving everything via his holy name. And He's given millions of varieties of holy names, millions of names to approach Him with, millions of things that you could focus on, your consciousness on Krishna. But we're so unfortunate. Why? Due to our, and there's not even any rules against it. It's not like, oh, I'm in the bathroom, I can't chant Krishna's name. Oh, I can only come and call out to the Lord in this circumstance at the temple. No, anywhere and everywhere you can call out to God, you can turn your consciousness to God. But why do we have no attachment to it? Durdaivam, because we're actually very misfortunate. And what's making us misfortunate? We have an offensive nature towards God, actually. We have even I've noticed this. We went to like some yoga studio, right? When we went to some preaching. I think I mentioned the word God like 2 or 3 times, and I noticed like some people were just like really disturbed that I just even said God. And even though God is like a factual reality, and you have to just not be paying attention to not realize that there's a God. But anyone, if you just walk them through the science of it, you'll definitely. But some people are so like averse to God that they cannot see objectively. They cannot see, oh my gosh, so fine. But this is why we're unfortunate, because it doesn't go away. We're all in this world because we are averse to God, and the training is to realize God's glory and realize, why we should become very favorable to God. And that's the process of sadhana, trying to become favorable to God. So I wish you all that good luck. One of the things we can do together to become favorable to God is just lovingly call out His name via kirtan. So we'll try that together. Does that sound like a good idea? Maybe we have hopefully a little bit of a better frame of mind now, and in the chanting, okay, I'm calling out to God with love. So these are names for God, highlighting the God's merciful nature of taking away that which is plaguing us, namely our ignorance, how beautiful and wonderful, attractive God is. I'm very interested. That's what Krishna means. And how pleasurable God is. That's what Rama means. So we're calling out to God, understanding God's position. And so much mercy will come. And keep increasing eternally if you do like this. So thank you guys so much. Sorry. Is there a question? I feel bad for wanting, but I kind of went over the time like I usually do. Welcome back. No question? But yes, Mom.
Following this process of trying to chanting, trying to cleanse their heart, but still, even in the midst of chanting, so many things are coming. The mind is thinking of doing this and this and getting pulled in that direction due to the consciousness just being there naturally. Like how can I possibly overcome some of these anarthas and these samskars, even while I'm trying to just chant and chant through them.
One of the illusions is that you're doing it. Actually the holy name is working on you. You're just going there to show up before the holy name and see God's mercy unfold in your life. But you thinking that I'm controlling the holy name, or I'll just chant like this, and actually that's not. So really what we need is guidance. And we need the mercy to come to us. Rather than, even when we sit to pray and chant, we have to understand that, I'm not doing anything other than showing up for mercy. It's like if you were to go to a waterfall to collect water, to collect mercy. It's not that you have to go to the waterfall and, make it happen. You just have to hold your glass out there and let it fill up. So similarly, you just have to show up to chant and let the Lord do the rest. And then even if you haven't received that guidance from anyone yet, then you have to go to someone who has a more mature and more mercy has come to them, and then they will share how you can get more mercy. So don't try and battle on your own. You just show up as sincere as possible. It is a battle, it is a struggle. That is Tarora Pisa Hishnina, having to be more tolerant than a tree. It's very difficult to sit and actually approach God, because the conditioning is, we are so averse to God, we can't even fathom how much we want to do anything other than approach God. But if you someone has given you faith in the process, you do the best you can with the faith given. And if you've run out of good options, you have to go recharge and get more faith from someone who has it, because they will give you more faith. So like that's it. Don't do it on your own. It's not. Bhakti comes from bhakti. It's not like I'll cultivate bhakti. You will receive bhakti, but you will not do any bhakti on your own. You have to be received bhakti. You have to be given bhakti. So if you actually just put yourself, make an endeavor to go receive bhakti, that's why a lot of guru, they'll pray to those or acharyas who've had bhakti, and then they're whatever comes to them is their mercy. They're not trying to do anything. You can't chant the holy name. Either the holy name can come to you if it so desires. God can come to you if He so desires. You can only repeat syllables. But actually, the syllables aren't the holy name. The holy name is God's mercy actually descending upon you. That's you just have to be as sincere as possible. Just like any you have the tendency whenever you have a really good service attitude, at least from my understanding. And when you have a good service attitude, you might have noticed that your seniors are very pleased with you. Like every time we've had a guest here, every guest has really nice things to say about you. Why? Because you melted their heart with your endeavor of service towards them. So if you keep doing like that, then they will that mercy will be given unto you. You'll melt their heart, and they'll naturally want to help you. So that's the key. You do service to advanced personalities, and then you'll melt their heart, and they'll say, "Oh, I must be merciful on this person." That's how it happened for Narada Muni in the Bhagavatam. He just served the Bhaktivedantists, and just by his menial service to them, they gave mercy, and then he got the prasad, and next thing you know, he becomes Narada Muni in the next life. So you just keep doing service, making some endeavor to please the devotees, but don't try to think I can do it alone. You cannot do it alone. But even if you just sit there and give whatever best endeavor you can to Krishna, even if your mind is plaguing you at every step which way, no problem. Krishna will reveal that channel of mercy will come to you again. But you just have to wait. Be patient, it'll come. And keep trying. And don't be dumb when you have an opportunity to receive mercy from a more advanced personality, you take it. And then you'll be good. Easy? Okay. Can we chant for 5? Sheila, you were behind. I forgot. I'm so happy to see you. All right, can we chant Hare Krishna one more time? Yes. Okay.